Hit it, Phil.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Can it be the breeze that fills the trees with rare and magic perfume? Oh, no, it isn't the breeze. It's Jackson time. La-da-da-da.
Well, hello again. This is Buck Benny speaking. We are joined with Hope Sears today. Hi, Hope. How's it going?
Hello, it's going okay. How about you?
It's going good. Going good. It's always fun being with you guys. We have Zach Eastman. Hey, Zach.
Hello. Hey.
How you doing, man?
How's it going? Doing good. How are you?
Are you awake?
Oh, yeah. I just got
often
off work,
on Saturdays, Zach has just worked a shift or whatever, so he's always kind of worn out. But he looks like he's awake today. I'm the one who's kind of worn out. So
yeah,
trying to stay awake. It's all good.
I'll get a nap in later. You watch.
Okay. Feel free to nap during our intro when you're done talking.
That comforting voice. It puts me to sleep so fast. So fast.
I always wonder when people email me, it's like, oh, I go to sleep to your show every night. I'm like, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I could tell you that was a comforting thing, because I've told you how I found your podcast at a low point in my life.
Yes,
that was a good thing. Is like I went to bed listening to it. I would get a couple of episodes in before I finally would, collapse.
Okay.
So yeah.
And in the Neil Gaiman episode, he says he falls asleep listening to Jack. So I don't think it's necessarily a comment on anybody's he enjoys Jack, but I think it's just it's a comfort thing. So you fall asleep peacefully because it's just comforting.
Yeah.
And
you have pleasant dreams. How can you have a nightmare when you're listening to Jack Benny? Come on now. So
unless it involves turkeys at Thanksgiving. So
yeah, that's true. So we also have Kathy Fuller-Seeley here. Hi, Kathy. And we have John Henderson as well.
Yeah,
John.
I have to apologize for the sling. I injured myself when I fell over laughing in this episode.
Now, I thought you'd gotten shot. Was what you said in the last episode. I want to hear a different reason that he's at his arms in a sling in every episode. That'd be good. All right.
Have an episode of what's that show? The To Tell the Truth or something.
Yes, exactly. That's the real reason John's in a sling. Okay. Anyway, today we're presenting something different, which is kind of cool. This is the Milton Berle special that came on. It sounds like, as Milton's talking, that this is his first appearance in TV in a while. So it's good that he was able to do this. And he talks about how he's got a 30-year contract, which is brought up many times by Milton Berle and other people talking about Berle and things. But I don't know how that contract worked out. It was like, it's a 30-year contract where you appear once every 15 years. So it's what a great contract. Anyway, I really enjoyed this special. I think you got a lot to look forward to. Jack's on here quite a bit, and Jack does some fun stuff. I like all the things the way they use Jack was very well. And he even gets to do a costume piece, which is always fun. And we'll kind of go around and chat about the Milton Berle show. And this one is from 1962, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought the last one was from 62, was 1960, and that's what messed me up, because I remembered this one being from 62. So there you go. Anyway, let's go over to John first. John, what were your thoughts on this one?
I thought it was delightful. I thought it was fun. With Milton Berle, I've never been a huge fan, and I've never been an anti-fan. I don't hate him, I don't love him. He's just sort of right in the middle there. And I would say this is definitely a better, or even one of the best, Milton Berle things I've seen. Mm-hmm. I thought it was very interesting, just the format of a variety show at that time, and the amount of preparation that they obviously put into it. The opening with singing Near You, but then changing the lyrics to introduce, and it's all very cleverly timed. I thought was fun and delightful, and something you don't see on television today unless they're spoofing it on Saturday Night Live. I thought his monologue, the black and white monologue, I was a little confused because it starts out in color, and then the video we have switches to black and white. So I wasn't sure if they were playing a clip at first. Yeah, go ahead.
That was me. There's some clips that are out there on YouTube that are color,
Yeah.
and then the whole show's out there on black and white. And I said, you know
Ah,
what? I'll Frankenstein this
Mm.
thing together to put the color bits back where they go,
Bravo, that's
and
terrific.
and have as
Very
much
smart
color as we
idea.
can. And so that's and then whole front section, the very beginning
Oh.
is Jack's voice introducing it and saying it's in
Mhm.
color and so forth, and
Yeah.
does a little joke.
Yep.
That whole section wasn't on, I don't think, the black and white version that's out there on YouTube. Maybe it was, but I don't think it was, or at least it didn't make any sense because it wasn't in color. So at least having that in color is nice, but it's a letdown because you see that, and then the intros, then a little bit of the intros in color, and then it switches to black and white. But well,
I think that actually works out very well because there's that joke that I thought that was on purpose, because there's that joke that Milton Berle does about the Emmys, and he's like, in black and white and color, and I thought it was changing from black and white into
right.
color because he's trying for that Emmy.
There you go. Well, I thought it felt a little bit like our own Wizard of Oz we were creating, but backwards and sideways. And then who's the singer on the episode?
Oh, Janice Page, the first
Okay.
singer.
Very good. Yeah. So anyway, they do a great job. The whole show's well. I enjoyed all of it.
Yeah, I mean, the style of Milton Berle is obviously different than somebody like Jack Benny, and I've never been a huge fan, like when you see clips of him in 1950 where he's Mr. Television. I've never been like a huge fan of that like exuberance. It seems like he's leaning on that, whereas by this time I feel like he mellows a little bit, and the
Yes.
monologue is even better. You know, it's one of the best monologues, I think, at the beginning there.
And when he eventually does dress up in drag in this episode,
Doing his
it's
pageant.
not as over the top as his previous doing that, and so
Right.
it's toned down. And I think that's part of the him realizing that, okay, comedy's a little different than it was back when he was starting out, a decade earlier.
Yeah,
And I
but you
think that
kind
was
of have
smart
to
of
do
him.
it because you're Milton Berle, and that's like your thing or whatever.
Exactly. And
I
so they
thought it was
still
so
were doing
funny.
an homage to that, but it was a little bit different. And I thought that was good.
I can't remember the name of that British guy, but when he does the
Oh.
joke, yeah, go ahead.
Lawrence Harvey, and we'll get to
Yeah.
him in a minute. So
Okay.
Yeah,
Lawrence
when
Harvey.
he does his Milton Berle and then his Jack Benny, I thought that was excellent. That was so
Yes.
fun. And the whole time, it seems like everybody's having fun. Jack and Milton are sort of breaking up a little bit, and
Yep.
you can't quite tell when their ad libs are real. So I just thought it was fun.
Well, and then at the beginning, you were talking about the introduction of people, and I thought that was really creative the way they did that at the beginning of the show. And when they introduced Jack, I don't think does Jack say anything? I think it's just
I don't
him and
know.
his
He does a
violin,
thing
and then
with
the whole joke with the violin. And it was a fun little tiny piece that was just fun.
It was great that they introduced him as coming from Carnegie Hall, because
Yes.
it ties back to the special we'd just done. And so I love the context that you were able to give us from previous podcasts.
Yeah. No, that was great. That was fun. And the other thing I want to mention with this whole thing is we sort of it's a mad world day for us, because we did the Phil Silvers special, and of course he's in mad for Mad's world, and of course so is Milton Berle, and for both of them, it's a mad world is one of my favorite things that I've seen them both in. I like them both, their characters and what they did with their characters in that movie. I've liked that movie more than anything else they've done. But these two specials that we've seen just recently, this one and the last one, I've liked very well too. They were very much some of my favorite stuff I've seen either of them do other than that movie. So that's kind of cool.
And they mention it. Did he say that they just finished filming or they're about to film?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, it was done right around that same time. It was 62. Yeah, right around there. So, but and I would assume they filmed it. Yeah, I bet they were done filming by then, because to put that all together must have taken a huge amount of time too, with all those different scenes and the second unit with the cars and would take forever to put that all together.
Yeah, and for Cinerama. So
yes, exactly. Cinerama, the
Yeah.
whole thing.
But so the interweaving of film and television that's evident in the show, that they're expecting the audience to know everything that's happening in Hollywood and all the movies. But because that's the odd thing about Lawrence Harvey. We don't know him that well in the US, but he's the lead character in The Manchurian Candidate,
Oh,
which
right.
they mentioned they've just finished filming and that Frank Sinatra plays in it. And the original Manchurian Candidate is one of the scariest movies of all time that was basically withdrawn from circulation the next year after Kennedy was killed.
Oh, right.
So it's it's a famous sort of lost movie in Hollywood history for being so Cold War, so much whose Murder She Wrote?
Angela
Angela
Lansbury.
Lansbury.
Angela Lansbury's best performance as the evil mother, and so to see that clashing with the giant Roman biblical films, and a mad world all at the same time is fascinating.
And I love it when they do a cameo and they don't milk it. They just let it be a quick cameo.
Yeah.
Great. I don't know if we want to spoil it, but the cameos in this one are terrific.
Yes, they are. And that's what I need to find is there's a picture in the that somebody posted recently in the Jack Benny fan club. I don't know if anybody grabbed it, but it's a color picture of the two folks that do a cameo at the very end of this, which I won't give away, and the rest of the cast. I suppose if I find that picture, I'll be using that, so it'll give it itself away. But I was kind of hoping, that's why I watched the episode and found the episode, was because of that picture. And I was kind of hoping they'd have a bigger section than they do. I was kind of let down by how little they were actually in this, but it is fun to have them here.
Well, that's why cameos are always best when it's a surprise.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And Zach, what were your thoughts on this one?
Full disclosure, I'm not a Milton Berle fan at all. I really am not. With the exception of when I've seen him in film. I don't particularly find him funny. Having said that, there are a lot of fun moments in this special. I think that the channel switching gag is remarkably well done.
Yes.
It plays to both their strengths in beautiful ways. I appreciate watching a gag that I know 20 to 30 years later will be done in similar fashion in film and television. Like, my immediate connective tissue was, oh, this is just kind of the way they're trading off the words is very similar to the Austin Powers bit where they all see something suggestive in the air because it's Dr. Evil's ship or something, and it's like, that looks like a huge wang or something like that. So to watch kind of like a birthplace of that from a television spectrum was interesting. I'm sure it's not the first time that kind of gag has been done, but it's an earlier representation. If I had to pick a sketch that I enjoyed outside of that, though, it's the triage of biblical epics, which this is, I guess, an example for people of what Milton Berle was among the things he was famous for in his earlier film career, television career, which was dressing in women's clothing on television and, pulling it off exquisitely. I think that this one, he milks it a little too much, but it's still a fun sketch. I loved the twist at the end with the people in there. I don't want to spoil it for anybody.
Yeah.
And I like watching Lena Horne do anything because she's Lena Horne. So I'm not going to turn that down. Overall, I thought it was fine. It's just that, like, I don't know. It didn't hit me the way it hit others, but I totally understand why people would enjoy it. It's, Milton Berle has an appeal that I can't deny. I don't find him as funny when he's doing his specials or his comedy shtick. I love him when a director gives him something to do. Like, I love him in It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World. I think he's brilliant in that movie. And I like the way he's like just capitulating at every turn to Ethel Merman and just trying to like stand up to his mother-in-law. It's a great comic performance of just like the sad sack. And it's weird because he can kind of do both. He can play braggadocio, he can play sad sack, and I kind of appreciate the sad sack version. So
agreed.
But yeah, that's my 2 cents. That's all.
Yep. And the Lena Horne part in this is kind of fun because it's one of the few parts we have in color. And so all of a sudden it's color and it kind of highlights her section, which is kind of fun. So yeah. And Hope, what were your thoughts on it?
Oh man, I loved it. I love the phone bit. I think that's one of the funniest bits in the show. Just the going, or not phone bit, the television
channel. Yeah.
Yes.
The television channel switching. That is the best.
It was brilliant. Yeah, it was great.
Yes, I applaud the writers, and you can also kind of tell like where each monologue would have gone had the channel stayed on the same thing. So I think it was just brilliantly written. And if that's live, that's amazing, because that would be hard to stage well.
Yeah, I think the special is filmed, but I think they did that bit live, because you can tell the way sort of they're interacting with the audience and sort of waiting for it to cut to them. And I think, Zach, you were mentioning if they were to do it later or today, they would probably tighten it up a little bit, which might help with the timing. But
that's not fair for me to criticize it for that, because you guys are right. Like it's of its era and they're trying something ambitious. I just can't get out of an editor mindset going like, I would tighten this up by like a second a piece. That joke, though, by the way, where Milton Berle tells the golf joke and then Jack says, let me tell you what kind of hack would tell this joke.
Yeah, I love that.
I love that. Yeah.
I love jokes about how Milton Berle steals material.
Yes,
I do think that's the funniest part of Milton Berle for me, is the fact that he just has no compunction of going like, yeah, I steal. Like,
I like how he kind of stole that whole bit from Jack in a way.
Yeah.
Back when Jack was on radio, they'd have the thing where they'd be turning the radio channels and they'd all play off of each other. They'd finish the sentence in a weird way, right, as he switches to a different radio station.
Yeah.
And so it was very much a similar bit to this. On Jack's end, it wouldn't be switching between two things. They'll be switching between like 4 or 5 different stations, and they would all kind of play off of each other, and that was kind of a cool thing to do.
It's weird if you take that whole sketch out in its entirety from the moment they shut off Milton Berle's program to then turning on Jack's to the very end. It's like a surreal short film. Like it's if you isolate it on its own, it's a very like interesting little short film that then ends with them being in the same space. Like, put it on its own face, I'm like, that's brilliant. Like, that's beautiful.
Buck has already edited this show, splicing in the color.
Yeah.
We can tighten it up. Like,
I George Lucas already taught me that it's not good to change stuff. So no, I'm good. Thank you very much.
But we'll have that AI discussion later, and it may be the next hot thing. So
can I program the AI to give me back original Star Wars? Probably not.
Yeah. Well, and the switching back and forth that they do and everything is so impressive. It's just editing the color back into this thing. I didn't realize how much work that was going to be, trying to line it. I do not want you to lose a second of dialogue or anything. So I think at one point I have where the same thing said again really quickly or something, because but I thought better to leave something into the cut too much out. So I tried to do that, and I think it worked pretty well, and I think it was fun seeing part of it in color. It'd be lovely if we ever find the whole thing in color, but
considering that it's in chunks as it stands, like, I think you're doing exactly what needs to be done, which is showing a proper representation of it, and that's more than acceptable. Like, it's in fact desired.
Kathy,
I appreciate
go ahead.
it. No, I was just saying I really appreciated it, and I echo some of the thoughts that were already said about just the trading, like the just ad libs. They were great.
Did we find any reviews or anything, Kathy, of this? Or I don't know.
Well, they loved this one. So Variety thought it was top notch. They were blown away by Lena Horne, and certainly she had such energy. What's happening at the zoo? That was amazing. I was really touched by the efforts that the efforts at happy racial integration. that occurred on the show, and you can see what was happening on the news in 1962, and that both Milton and Jack, take her hand and give Lena hugs, and so I really appreciated that little effort to counter some of the horribleness that was being shown on the news at this very same time in 1962. That the special was playing. My guess is that Lena Horne probably wasn't on TV much. I think she was pretty much mainly playing clubs, in order to protest the ways that African Americans were being treated on TV. So I'll do some homework on that and get back to you about it. I also just wanted to mention, fabulous show. I thank you. I'd never gotten to see it before, and I really was intrigued by Milton's humbleness when he comes out and sits down at the end of the show, and he talks about that his career started when he was a small child in early film. And I don't know if he's lying through his teeth. He was known to lie and embellish a lot, but to think that if he'd been kind of on the fringes, he only, made stardom in 1948 when back in New York, when he was on his Milton Berle show, that he had this whole career as a juvenile performer in silent film, and then small shows, small parts on radio. He was, I think, in the Catskills. He never got a single good review in all his radio shows, and to think this proverbial schmuck then bursting into Mr. Television stardom in 1948, and that he realized that time had passed him by, and what was he going to do? So I was just intrigued that for a guy who I think his ego could fill rooms, to be willing to be humble, I thought was intriguing. So
it's interesting because the audience, when he's telling those stories, are laughing because they think he's telling jokes, whether it's a setup for a joke or
no, I really was. But as I said, he was known for embellishing the past. He claimed it was he that when Amy Semple McPherson, the evangelist, disappeared for a couple weeks, he always claimed, she was off having an affair with 17-year-old me. And I'm going, at first I believed that was true. So I have since come to understand that anything Berle says might be a fabrication. So.
Right.
Yeah, but I will give Berle credit for something. Like, he lasted up until the mid to late 90s. I think one of the first times Hope and I would have probably seen him was on Kenan and Kel.
I didn't see him on that. I actually saw him on The Nanny.
Oh, okay. The Nanny.
Wow.
Kenan and Kel, Fresh Prince of Bel Air. He's also on.
I saw him on.
Wanted to try on Fran Drescher's shoes.
Oh,
So never the dressing never ended.
That's a great little bit. That's nice. John, you were going to say something, I think?
Oh, my introduction to Milton Berle was the '66 Batman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Louis the Lilac, I think, or something like that, right?
Yeah, Louis the Lilac.
Yeah.
And he also did he did a promo, which I think I taped off TV or something for Batman, and so he's in the promo as Milton Berle. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because again, it's like he is a guy who just found a way to last and never really left our consciousness. I give him props for sticking it out as long as he did, and
as does stubborn molding your shower. So
right. Yeah. So again, and it's he does give me a good chance to pull a cheap gag anytime I've ever seen. If I've ever walked into a used bookstore and I've seen a Milton Berle joke book, I'm like, oh, it's a book on how to commit theft. Gotcha. It's that's a fun joke for me that I'll always have. So he's not entirely bad.
Yeah. I think even on The Nanny, he played an uncle or something like that. So he's still Uncle Milty still.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Well, and I think a lot of it goes probably to his people, his publicist, to keep him in the loop enough that they can keep using him on shows and things for all that time. Because that's a tricky thing to do. It's a tightrope you got to walk to keep somebody employed and working and not have them have their own show or anything. It's a tricky thing, and that was great that they were able to do that. So anyway, enjoy this episode. I was surprised with how good it was. I was very, much impressed with a lot of it, and some of it feels really innovative, and some of it just, like we say, it for the time, it's well done. And we'll see you folks next time. So I hope you enjoy this special and keep on enjoying our summers, our Jack Benny special summer. Yeah. And thanks everybody for being here.
Thank you. That was
We're
great.
out. All right.
The following program is brought to you in living color over NBC. How do you like that, Berle? He's even got me announcing the show.
Just one place for me, and that's near you. It's a thrill to be here, near you. Lights are going on, brightening up the stage. Now here's a gal real gone, lovely Janice Page.
Only once comes this particular sky, only once this precious hour will fly, only once in a lifetime today comes by.
So live today. Camera 3, follow me, will you? Because here's a star from afar to thrill you. Lawrence Harvey from England's far off shore.
Milton, it's great to be here.
Well, stick out that noble chin.
When do they serve the tea here?
When you slap on that happy grin. We'll spread sunshine all over the place. So put on a happy face. Now let's move right along, because here's a swinging song from the one and the only Lena.
From this moment on, no more blue songs, only hoop-de-doo songs.
Every care is gone from this moment on. I've prepared quite a ball for you, now from Carnegie Hall for you. If I can make tonight worthwhile and bring you just one smile, then I'm glad to be here near you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I'm back. And believe me, it wasn't easy getting back on television. Really, it wasn't. I lied to them. I told them I was a doctor. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I've been pretty busy this past year. Nightclubs, motion pictures, theaters. I went to all of them. But I don't have to worry. What do I have a 30-year contract with NBC, really, 30 years. And the lawyer who drew it up for me got the same sentence. I'll tell you one thing, though. Really, I got to tell you this. I think television hasn't changed since I had my own series. Really, they had the same panel shows. You know, like To Tell the Truth. You know, where the moderator says, "Will the real David Susskind please shut up?" Big deal, To Tell the Truth. They've had a show like that in Russia for years. They let you tell the truth about anything between the time the bullet leaves the rifle and hits you. I'll take this country anytime. American television is the only place in the world where you can find at least 50 shows in the top 10. It's ridiculous. I can't wait till pay television comes in. It's practically here. I really mean, I know that, because I had to pay plenty to get this show. Well, I want to say, pay TV will be great. There'll be no more reruns. Reruns, you know what that is? That's a Madison Avenue talk for the old saying, "The evil that men do lives after them." There's only one thing that's holding up pay TV. They can't decide how much Dr. Kildare should charge for a house call. And that's the big thing this year, medical shows. Ben Casey, Dr. Kildare. I remember in the old days when you were sick, you used to have to go to the Mayo Brothers. Today you got to go to... And those medical shows are even affecting our hospitals. I mean that. If something goes wrong on the operating table, the surgeon takes off his mask, turns to his assistant and says, well, that's showbiz. You think that's bad? Oh, I just reminded, did you see the trouble they had the other night on the Ben Casey show? A man went in for a tonsillectomy, and instead, Casey took out his appendix. Somebody mixed up the cue card. You like that? There's one thing that I can't understand. With all those medical shows on television, how come Chester still limps? Don't get me wrong. I am not complaining about television. This industry does its best. For example, every year one night is put aside to present the Emmy Awards. Emmy Awards, that's the night that the public finds out they've been enjoying the wrong shows. And the categories. You ever listen to some of those titles? There's one called the Award for the Best Writing of an Hour or a Half-Hour Show in a Continuing Series or a Special Event, film or live, but not taped, syndicated, or sponsored, black and white, or in color, with or without music, not previously adapted from any magazine, novel, short story, true incident, motion picture, Broadway play, or condensed from a spectacular. This award will be given to the writer who wrote that description.
What did you turn it off for? Burl's very funny tonight.
Funny? He couldn't get a laugh on TV if he was run over by car 54.
But you liked it when he did that dramatic show, Doyle Against the House, when he played the blackjack dealer and they broke both his hands.
Yeah? That I laughed at. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to push this remote control button and change the channel. Do you know why?
Why?
Jack Benny is on the other network.
Jack Benny? Oh, no, you're not. Give me that button. We're going to watch Burl.
I want to see Jack Benny.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Jack Benny program. And here's our star, Jack Benny.
Believe me, if he starts talking about his age again, I'm going to switch back to Burl.
Oh, shut up, will you?
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You know, before getting on with my show tonight, I want to discuss something personal. You know, a lot of people have been kidding me about my age, and I'd like to straighten them out.
This morning, I want to tell you, I played golf at Hillcrest. I'm a pretty good golfer, too. For instance, the first hole was a par 3, and on that first hole, I shot a
39. Now, that's how old I was on my last birthday. As a matter of fact, recently, a Hollywood producer had a part open for a young, good-looking fella for one of his pictures, you see. So my agent brought me over there, and my agent pointed to me, and he said, if you're looking for a good-looking young leading man, I'd advise you to sign Jack Parr.
Really, I shot 2 under par in the second hole. But when I approached the third tee, I hit the ball, and would you believe it, I got a hole
in your head. It's all in the mind. Just because I've been in the public's eye for all these years. Actually, I only started in radio 30 years ago, when I was 9. And that was
the biggest lie you ever heard. But I want to tell you, you see, most golfers are liars. No, not me, not Burl. I tell the truth about my game. In fact, what do you think happened to me this afternoon? I'm a great golfer. I lost the ball on the green. Other guy, I put down the bag and we'll look for the ball. When I come back, the bag was gone. Somebody took her away. Funny joke. I just made it up. Really, I just made it up.
Now, to prove it to you, here is I must read this. Here's a copy of the first radio show, first script I did 30 years ago. And I'll get a load of this. I was playing golf one day, and I lost my ball on the green. I put down the bag and went to look for the ball, and when I got back, the bag was gone. Somebody took her away. You know, I can't imagine anyone, I mean, having the gall to do a joke like that today. Maybe one. Anyway, I'm getting off the subject about my age. You see, I believe a man is as old as he feels, and I feel just wonderful. Because, you see, I know I'm in good physical condition because about a week ago I went to see my doctor. I went up to his office for an examination, and he looked at my tonsils.
That's where I found her. I want to tell you, I was pretty mad at this girl because she disappeared from the golf course. So I walked right up to her and I said,
"Take off your clothes." Well, after the doctor made me undress, he started to examine. He checked my heart and my lungs, and he said to me, "Jack, as far as I can see, you're a
very beautiful girl." You know, that night it was great. I took this girl to the restaurant. It was wonderful. We had a great dinner, but when I wanted to sign the check, the waiter, he wanted cash. I guess he didn't recognize me, so I got mad. I said to him, "I'm Milton Berle, Milton Berle."
Which can upset anyone's stomach. Then my doctor told me, he said I had nothing to worry about because I was in excellent condition. And of course, this made me feel very, very good, particularly because Mary just recently gave me a party for my birthday.
Oh, I knew there was something I forgot to tell you. Will you hold the music, Les? Will you hold it just a minute? You know, Jack Benny, very good friend of mine, he just had a birthday, and you should see what I sent him. It's a beautiful gift that I know he'll appreciate because it's something that he's always wanted.
But I got one gift that was absolutely fabulous. Now, I don't know how to describe it to you, see? So I'll have to show it to you. Will you bring it in, fellas, please? Isn't this wonderful? How I ever lived all my life without it, I'll never know. And look at the inscription on it, right here. It says, "To Jack, in appreciation for the many wonderful hours of entertainment you got from watching me." Isn't that adorable?
Wait a minute, I got to tell you something. I heard a joke this afternoon. It's terrific. It's about a spy in the days of King Arthur. Let's see if I can remember. He was brought down to this torture chamber, and he was threatened with the most horrible instrument of torture ever invented.
My violin. I want you to know that this is a genuine Stradivarius, which I was very fortunate in purchasing
while he was still alive.
And now I would like to play Cole Porter's Never to Be Forgotten, Night and Day.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I want to show, for the first time on television, I'd like to play the harmonica. You didn't think I could play it, huh? Well, you want to listen? Tuning up, partner. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to play Cole Porter's Never to Be Forgotten, Night and Day. Okay, Les, ready? Music, please.
Chicken fat on my bowl.
This is Milwaukee, population 741,000. A beautiful Midwestern city, thriving, bustling, growing, sneezing. For 45 years it has been in a state of war. This is the enemy, Ambrosia trifida. You call it ragweed. It triggers hay fever. 10 grains of pollen from this plant in a cubic yard of air can start you sneezing. And a single ragweed plant can produce 8 billion grains of pollen. 8 billion grains. Enough pollen to start every hay fever sufferer in the world sneezing from just one plant. And ragweed is everywhere. It invaded Milwaukee as it invaded thousands of towns, surrounded it, smothered it. Let's see what Milwaukee did about it.
My name is Elliot Duke. I'm a news reporter. Milwaukee has been fighting ragweed for 45 years. Take a look at these clippings. The mayor endorses weed eradication days. A hay fever clinic is set up. And a hospital sets aside special rooms for hay fever sufferers. Milwaukee newspapers have given strong support for weed-cutting drives.
The Milwaukee Boys Club joined in these weed-cutting drives. Laws were passed. It became a crime to fail to cut down ragweed on your property. Milwaukee even has a weed commissioner. In his words, this city has a real weed problem. These are weeds. Weeds, more weeds. So we post notices, we notify owners. Then we move in with machinery to cut down the weeds before they can spread pollen. Last year, Milwaukee destroyed over 80 million square feet of weeds. It cost many thousands of dollars to do it. That's how Milwaukee, an energetic and progressive city, gets rid of 90% of its ragweed. And yet, every summer from August 15th to September 15th, Milwaukee sneezes. Why? Because pollen is so light, the wind blows it in from hundreds of miles around. The hay fever story is the same all over the country. In California, the enemy might be sage. In New England, timothy. But in Milwaukee, it's ragweed. So if you lived in Milwaukee and had hay fever, you went away to resorts like Eagle River or to Sturgeon Bay. Expensive. Or you stayed at home and tried to get through the season, and you sneezed. But last summer, many Milwaukeeans could stay home without sneezing. A new anti-hay fever product appeared in Milwaukee drugstores. It cost only $1.25 a bottle. This tablet was made specifically for hay fever and similar allergies. Its name is Allerest, and Allerest is the tablet that made Milwaukee stop sneezing.
And now, folks, it's my pleasure to present to you one of the loveliest, one of the most dynamic performers in the entertainment world today, the fantastic Janice Page.
Lonesome old town. It's a lonesome old town when you're not around. Lonely, lonely, lonely as I can be. Papa, please won't you dance with me? I never knew how much I'd miss you. But now I can plainly see that you could do a lot for me. It's a lonesome old town when you're not around. How I wish you'd come back to me. I thought you'd never get here. I've been waiting ever so long in this lonesome old town.
Thank you very much. Cool off, and I'll see you later. Stay the way you are. And, you know, ladies and gentlemen, it's not very often that I get a chance to introduce a personality with the talent and the creative ability. With the talent and creative, I'm so nervous introducing him. With the talent and creative ability of our next guest. He's America's artistic import from Great Britain and is really to be congratulated for his magnificent performance in Summer and Smoke. My pleasure to present to you Mr. Lawrence Harvey, ladies and gentlemen. You notice how tongue-tied I get? I get nervous. And I want to tell you something. It's a great pleasure, Larry, to have you on our show. I really mean that.
Well, thank you, Milton.
You know, you know how nervous I got to introduce you? And I tell you, I'm so impressed just standing on the same stage with you. After all, you're one of the real artists in our profession.
You mean you are in my profession?
Mr. Harvey, I know that you're not used to the customs of this country, but we have one rule in TV television, American television over here, FCC Regulation 22. You never heard of it? The guest never gets more laughs than the comedian. That's the rule. You'll remember that, won't you, from now on, please?
Well, I'm terribly sorry. I didn't know. You see, I've only been in this country, well, just a little over 2 years.
Only 2 years? And it's amazing. He speaks English better than I do. I'm kidding. You like it here, though? You really like it?
Oh, very much. You know, except that I've been so busy since I've been here. Interviews, cocktail parties, autograph hounds, work, personal appearances, attending premieres.
Yeah, it's tough being a celebrity, isn't it?
It certainly is. You're not missing a thing.
Lawrence, you are forgetting Regulation 22, you know, I've always admired you. I mean that when I was a kid, I couldn't make up my mind whether to be a dramatic actor or a comedian.
Which did you finally decide on?
I thought... Lawrence, will you please don't start anything I can't finish. So please, don't make fun of me, will you, please?
Milton,
what?
Milton, look, I'm not making fun of you.
Well, I thought you were just...
No, really serious. Look, as you say in this country, I was only putting you on.
You know all the lines already. Putting you on and all
putting
that
you on
stick.
everything. What do you think I've been doing here for the last 2 years? Listen, I can say last, too. In fact, honestly, I did see you in a drama.
Oh, he knows the camera pretty good, this kid. Go ahead. What? You saw me what?
I did see you in a drama. It was on the Dick Powell show, Doyle Against the House.
Yeah?
You were magnificent.
Oh, really?
I really, honestly, I really feel you should get an Emmy for that performance.
Oh, Larry, are you saying that sincerely?
Why, yes. Isn't that the way you told me to say it?
Yeah, just forget the whole bit. Don't laugh so loud. All right, I just thought maybe, about pictures. I thought maybe I could be your co-star with you in the new picture you're doing. I read it in one of the papers. What's the name of the picture? The
Manchurian Candidate.
Manchurian Candidate. If I could be in that picture, it would be great.
I'm terribly sorry, Milton.
Why?
You see, it's too late. We already have a co-star.
Who's that?
Frank Sinatra.
All right. What are you doing in the picture?
Well, we play American soldiers in Korea.
Sinatra, a soldier? He doesn't weigh enough to be a bullet. And I nearly loused up my own joke, I'll tell you. Why do you always use Sinatra?
Okay,
Sinatra.
Milton, can you blame me?
Why?
Well, using Frank in a picture, that's like money in the bank.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Did somebody call me?
Larry, you know Jack Benny, don't you, Jack?
Yes, hello, Jack.
Hello, Larry. How are you? I'm so glad you're here, too, because this gives me an opportunity to compliment you on your performance in the Alamo.
Thank you.
What a wonderful picture. I'd have given anything to have been in that picture. Anything.
Sure, he'd made a fortune selling ladders to the Mexicans.
Selling ladders to Mexicans, selling ladders to Mexicans. I sold one, and he makes a big thing of it. Larry, one thing I've always noticed, though, you get the most exciting leading ladies for your pictures, like Simone Signoret, is that the way you pronounce it? Signoret, Elizabeth Taylor. What do you attribute that to?
A sexy agent.
Beautiful. Funny. When you do a joke on him, I laugh.
Thank you.
I mean that.
Look, no, seriously, this is ironic.
What?
Here you two are complimenting me when I should be complimenting you.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Well, look, here I am standing on the same stage with two of America's greatest comedians, And you know, to be a comedian is much, much tougher than being just a dramatic actor.
Oh, sure.
Why, I'd give anything to learn how to do comedy. I'd even be willing to start at the bottom.
You certainly picked the right program.
Jack, will you please? Now, Larry, if you're really serious, I can teach you. I gave lots of comedians their nightclub material. Like Mort Saul, Henny Youngman, Buddy Hackett, Jan Murray.
You gave them their jokes?
That's right.
Yes, he gave Mort Saul Youngman's material. He gave Youngman Hackett's
Oh,
material.
shut up, will you? That's not true, Jack. You know me very well. I don't steal jokes. I'm an ad-lib comedian.
Some ad-lib comedian.
Yeah.
You could lean against a stove and something, I'm supposed to If you leaned against a stove, you couldn't get a blister.
No.
You couldn't ad-lib a blister if you leaned against a hot stove. I got it. You got it.
That's very funny. I'm letting you do all the funny lines. That's what.
Yeah, you are. Something must be bothering you.
Nothing is bothering me, Jack. And I don't like that insinuation that I can't ad-lib. I defy anyone to name a better ad-libber than me. Anyone.
Well, Milton, there's Bob Hope, Red Skelton, Groucho Marx.
That's not fair. You're naming comedians.
You could throw in Arthur Murray and it would still come out the same.
Never mind. Now, Larry, come here. Step down. You're upstaging me. It's very simple. If you want to learn how to do comedy, you don't have to make up your mind who you want to teach you. Jack and I are different types.
That's the sweetest thing he said to me all day.
Now, please, Jack, I'm talking about styles. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and you know, he's right about that, about the style. Now, I think you see, Larry, with your, you're being so suave, that I think that you should work like I do.
You know, I think Jack has something there.
Sure, he has something every place. He never gives anything away. You can bet me.
Oh, no, Milton, that's not fair. I happen to know that Jack is not cheap.
I'm not? I mean, I'm not.
I don't know why anyone ever accuses you of always thinking of money.
Yeah.
He's right. I mean, money is never on my mind.
Would be if you had a pocket there.
Damn it! Shut up! Damn it!
Shut up. That's not what's done it.
Now, look at.
Yeah.
Larry.
Sorry to wake you up, pal. It's all right.
Larry, now, I think...
Will you hurry up?
I will.
I got to be on the set in May.
One thing he's right about, though, I mean, with your sophistication and everything, you should adopt my style. Really. You really should.
Why? You think your style's funny? Come on, will you pardon me just a minute? Are you being on the level with it?
Yeah.
What's so funny? Will you pardon me just a minute? I'll be with you in an hour. What's so funny about you? Pardon me. What's so...
You didn't mean to serve it, did you?
What's so... Oh, I got a line here, but I don't want to say it. Because it isn't mine. Now. No, will you wait a minute, Jack? Will you wait? Larry, will you... Well, I'm going to explain. What's so funny about your style anyway, Jack? You stand there in front of an audience on your own show, and I watch it, with your arms crossed, and you look at the camera and you say, well. Now, what do you got to say about that? And the way you walk. Did you ever see the way you walk? You walk like...
I walk nice.
You walk like
That's the way.
Yes, you know what you look like? You look like Hermione Gingold wearing Tuesday Wells blue jeans.
As long as we're on the subject, did you ever watch yourself on the way you walk?
Oh, I walk pretty...
Yeah. Oh, you walk cute.
Yeah.
Good. No, you sound like a Russian. No. When you walk, you look like a sore loser in a twist contest.
Very funny. So what? By the time you tell one joke, I tell 40, and I get big laughs.
You get bigger laughs than I. You get bigger laughs. You never get bigger laughs. Now cut that out.
All right, we'll settle it.
Oh, I will settle it.
I'll tell you what we'll do, Milton. Yeah. You tell me one of your jokes, and I'll tell that to the audience, and Jack, you tell me one of your jokes, and I'll tell that to the audience, and we'll see which gets the bigger laugh. Milton's style or yours?
That's all right.
All right with me. Okay, you tell my joke first. Would you pardon me?
No, go right ahead.
Young man. You tell. Will you keep quiet? Just. Thanks. You're going to do my style first. I'll tell you a joke. I want it to be a yell. Watch this, Benny. Watch it. Go ahead, pal.
Beautiful, pal. Good. Good evening, ladies and germs. These are the jokes, folks. Love it. You know, I just heard a funny gag. Did you hear about the fellow who walked into a seafood restaurant and said to the waiter, "Do you serve crabs here?" And the waiter said, "Sit down, we're not particular. How about that?" Harry, they laughed. Oh, they screamed at it.
You ready with your style? Let him teach you. See if it's better.
Not too bad.
Well, do you know why Gracie Allen put a television set on the stove? To see how George burned. They not only laughed at it, but they applauded.
Yeah, they applauded. I saw. Yeah, yeah.
Now, what do you got to say to that?
What have I got to say to that? Nothing. The big deal. What does that prove?
That proves that my tailor is funnier than yours.
Are you sorry, Todd?
Listen to Joey Sangor, a former boxer, a popular Milwaukee citizen, and one of Milwaukee's prominent pharmacists.
In my time, I've seen a lot of hay fever products, but I've never seen such response like Alaris got. People come in and tell me that they breathe better and sleep better. Hay fever has taken the 10 count. I ought to know. I was once a boxer.
William Kirk, past president of the Wisconsin Pharmaceutical Association, has this to say.
When Alaris first appeared in Milwaukee, I did with it what we do with all new hay fever products. I examined its formula, and Alaris contains no aspirin. That's important because some people are allergic to aspirin. I've never seen a product sell as fast as Alaris.
I don't have hay fever, but my son Chris does. We heard about Alaris and decided to give it a try. We tried just about everything else, but Alaris worked. And you can quote me.
Well, that's the Milwaukee story. But wherever you live, you can get the same results from Alarist. This remarkable new tablet calms the cough, the sneeze, the tears, the runny nose, the itchy eye of allergy. It can take the sneeze out of your summer. Alarist, for allergy and only for allergy, from Pharmacraft Laboratories.
And now, the two most exciting words I know. Lena Horne.
When the sky is a bright canary yellow, I forget every cloud I've ever seen. So they call me a cockeyed optimist, immature and incurably green. I have heard people rave and rant and bellow that we're done and we might as well be dead. But I'm only a cockeyed optimist, and I can't get it into my head. I hear the human race is falling on its face and hasn't very far to go. But every whippoorwill is selling me a bill and telling me just just ain't so. I could say life is just a bowl of jello and appear more intelligent and smart, but I'm stuck like a dope with a thing called hope, and I can't get it out of my heart. No, not this heart. Ouch, you're stepping on my pouch. To the bear said the kangaroo. Oh, you're stepping on my toe. To the kangaroo said the gnu. Unc, you're stepping on my trunk. To the gnu said the elephants. The seal flipped his flippers and swallowed several kippers, and they all began to chant. Let us out, let us out, let us out, let us out. The zoo is overloaded. Let us out, let us out, let us out, let us out. The population has exploded. Eek, you're stepping on my beak, said the pelican to the moose. Look out, you're stepping on my snout, said the moose to the honking goose. Heck, you're stepping on my neck, said the goose to the tall giraffe. Ouch, my pouch, oh, my toe, eek, unk, ouch, oh, ooh. And that's what is new at the zoo. Oh, spread out, everybody. Why does Mrs. Skunk always have more room than we have? Some people can get a thrill knitting sweaters and sitting still. That's peachy for some people who don't know they're alive. Some people can thrive and bloom, living life in a living room. That's perfect for some people of 105. But I at least gotta try. When I think of all the sights I gotta see and all the places I got to play, all the things that I gotta be in. Come on, Papa, what do you say? Some people can be content playing bingo and paying rent. That's okay for some people, for some humdrum people to be, but some people ain't me. At least gotta try. When I think of all the sights I got to see, yes, all the places I'm gonna play, all the things that I've got to be at. Come on, Papa, what do you say? Some people can be content playing bingo and paying rent. Well, that's okay for some people, for some humdrum people to be. Yeah, but them kind of people ain't me.
Boy, Lena, as I may say, as always, you're just too much. Am I right, folks? Isn't it really wonderful? Boy, I want to tell you, yeah, I really mean it, Lena. You're just simply, as always, I really mean that.
Well, thank you, Milton.
May I say how wonderful you were on the Dick Powell show?
Well, thank you again. Thank you very much.
You know, you should make a feature picture.
Well, isn't that funny you said that? I'm going to. I was just signed by Stanley Kramer for his new production. It's a picture called It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World. Spencer Tracy and about 20 stars. It's going to run about 4.5 hours.
Oh, don't tell me it's going to be one of those epics about a giant of history like Julius Caesar.
Oh, no. This is a comedy that I'm going to do.
Oh, that's good. Because there have been so many of those epic life stories in the past few years. In fact, there's something that bothers me about them.
Hmm?
Do you mind if I sound off a little bit?
Of course not. You do what you want. You're my guest. Ladies and gentlemen, a television first. Lena Horne will now do 8 bars of talk.
Well, no, it's true. There have been a lot of epics about giants of history in the past few years. The reason is simple. The stories are usually in the public domain, and the lives of the characters are available to any producer, gratis. But how would those historical figures feel if they knew what was going on? If they were around today, what would they have to say?
Get me a lawyer. I'm Ben-Hur, and I was played by Charlton Heston. The casting wasn't right. In fact, it hurt us. Charlton Heston, he doesn't look like me. For me, they should have gotten Tony Curtis.
S-P-A-R-T-A-C-U-S spells Spartacus. Kirk Douglas in the movie portrayed me as a slave. But the way he played me really wasn't true. For his acting in the dungeon, he wound up with a rave. In my dungeon, I wound up with a flu.
The movies made a fortune out of me. They dramatize my love life, but they never send me checks, revealing all my secrets and for free. My attorney's going to sue them for $1 million, maybe more. Just call me the Egyptian Zsa Zsa Gabor. It's a pity. It's an outrage. It's a shame. Cashing in on all our fame. We will form an alliance, the underpaid giants of history. Spartacus, Ben-Hur. We'll demand our rights. Like other individuals, we feel we're entitled to residuals. And when Hollywood's feeling like taking a stealing from history, they will pay us
a nickel of those grocers from the screen.
My clothes are getting shabby. I'm embarrassed to be seen.
In order to eat, I go out trick-or-treat every Halloween. Where the poverty-stricken,
taken a licking,
very mistreated, swindled and cheated, the overworked, overplayed, underpaid giants of history. I made a star of Theda Barrett. I helped Claudette Colbert make the grade. I'll earn $6 million for Liz Taylor if the picture's ever made.
Cleopatra, you're disarming.
Thank you.
We could have a rendezvous. Just name the place.
Well, Ben, meet me at the pyramid in a half an hour. Meet me in the pyramid in a half an hour. Meet me in the pyramid in a half an hour. Meet me in the pyramid in a half an hour. I'm so sorry.
Cleopatra, Cleopatra, you're so charming.
Yes.
But it's tough to grow accustomed to your face.
Don't be a smarty, Sparty. Up that crazy river that they call the Nile. If they paid me royalties, I'd live in style. Oh, I would gladly leave with my diamonds and my minks, because that dirty river, confidentially, it thinks. Why should we feel blue? Here's the thing to do. We'll sue. We'll sue. We'll sue Paramount. We'll sue MGM. And we'll sue their cockamamie lion too. And someday we'll own shares in Vitaphone. We'll sue. Oh, our clothes may be ragged and funny, but wait till they hand us our money. I'll wear pearls in my lobes.
We'll wear Ivy League robes.
Who's Darryl Zanuck?
Come close to the screen and let's see what makes you sneeze. Ragweed make you sneeze? Cat make you sneeze? Dust make you sneeze? Makeup make you sneeze? You've got allergy. You need Allerest. Let's see what else makes you sneeze. Horse make you sneeze. Goat make you sneeze. Duck make you sneeze. Sheep make you sneeze. What's that? You stay away from these things? On the contrary, you live with them. Horse, goat, duck, sheep. Take Allerest tablets. In minutes, Allerest calms the cough, the sneeze, the tears, the runny nose, the itchy eye of allergy. Created for allergy and only for allergy. No cold tablet or capsule can say the same. Take Allerest.
She walks like an angel walks. She talks like an angel talks.
I can't resist you, Mr. Berle.
To my mind, she's my kind of girl.
Oh, thank you.
She sings like an angel sings. It's being on the show. His grin, like an angel's grin. His violin, isn't that a sin? When I play, music lovers cry. In pain, you're my kind of guy. Jack, Larry, Janice, Lena. Oh, boy. Really 4 great performers. I really mean it's a great pleasure to have you on our show tonight. Thank you very much. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I have been in show business quite a long time. I don't want to feel too nostalgic about this right now or talk nostalgically, but I'd like to let my hair down on the show tonight. Is it all right? We got a little time? This jazz is not new to me. I've been in the show business since I'm 5 years old. And I have the material to prove it. Really, I started when I was 5 years old. Really, my mother used to take me by the hand, take me to studios for jobs and pictures. And I was in silent pictures. I appeared with Flora Finch and John Bunny and Ruth Rowland and William Faversham. I appeared. What are you laughing at, man? You're older than you look, this man down here. Look, if you remember those names. I appeared with Pearl White in The Perils of Pauline, too. I'm not kidding, no. I was the kid that they tied to the railroad track, and Pearl White kept saving me. Of course, to this day, a lot of comedians wish I'd have never been saved. No, but when I look around here in a television studio with these very wonderful people in the audience, it makes me feel that, well, here I am back home again and to one of my first loves. And I've done a lot of TV work, especially this year. A lot of TV work. I fixed 3 sets. No, but, you know, speaking of my television career, I went through about 360 consecutive live-hour shows. Some of them were dead. But, I really mean, and I was going pretty good in those first early days of television. For the first 6 or 7 years, I had a very high rating. I had, if I may be a little humble, in my own way, I had a rating of 83. Of course, in those days, there were only 83 sets. And my mother owned 82. That's... Well, I was going pretty good in those early days of television until they put somebody opposite me the same night on a different station, the same time. You guessed it. His Excellency Bishop Fulton Sheen. Bless him, and he did better than me, because, let's face it, he had better writers. In fact, while I was on for Texaco, Bishop Sheen and I had the same sponsor, Sky Chief. So I do want to say, after all these years, it's a great thrill to get back and do another television show and entertain an audience that I love so much. And now I'd like to leave you, ladies and gentlemen, with this one thought. I've had quite a hectic career. Every year brought a smile and a tear, and I've enjoyed every moment out here for your entertainment. If you're low when you tune in the dial and my show brings you one little smile, then I know that it's all been worthwhile for your entertainment. You know, to me, every night is an opening night. Just to hand you a laugh is my one big delight. I guess each performer is right when he says there's no biz that ever compares to showbiz. Those years, gee, how quickly they flew, every one so refreshingly new. And though I've spent 47 with you, I give 40 more, as long as it's for your
Unlike some deodorants, Fresh doesn't promise you eternal romance. Cream, roll-on, stick, all Fresh does is keep you fresh. When you think of it, that's quite a lot.
Till I see you soon again, good night.
I want to thank Kirk Douglas and Charlton Heston for dropping in tonight. Also appearing tonight were Milton Berle and Christine Nelson.
Next week during this time period, see the Art Linkletter Show and David Brinkley's Journal in color.
This is Lorne Green. Friday night, I'll be coming your way in a new and most unusual role here at NBC. The occasion is the International Beauty Spectacular, which will combine a showcase of the world's most beautiful women with a full hour of entertainment. Join me for the International Beauty Spectacular this Friday night at 10, 9 Central Time, here on NBC.
This special is brought to you by Allerest, created for allergy and only for allergy. Allerest calms the cough, the sneeze, the tears, the runny nose, the itchy eye of allergy. Allerest tablets, a product of Pharmacraft Laboratories.
Just one place for me, and that's near you. It's a thrill to be here, near you. Lights are going on, brightening up the stage. Now here's a gal real gone, lovely Janice Page.
Only once comes this particular sky, only once this precious flower will fly, only once in a lifetime they come by.
So live today. Camera 3, follow me, will you? Because here's a star from afar to thrill you. Lawrence Harvey from England's far off shore.
Milton, it's great to be here.
Well, stick out that noble chin.
When do they serve the tea here?
When you slap on that happy grin.
We'll spread sunshine all over the place.
So put on
a happy face.
Now let's move right along, because here's a swinging song from the one and the only Lena.
From this moment on, no more blue songs, only hoopty-doo songs.
Every care is gone from this moment on. I've prepared quite a ball for you, now from Carnegie Hall, for you. If I can make tonight worthwhile and bring you just one smile, then I'm glad to be here near you. And now, the two most exciting words I know. Lena Horne.
When the sky is a bright canary yellow, I forget every cloud I've ever seen. So they call me a cockeyed optimist, immature and incurably green. I have heard people rave and rant and bellow that we're done and we might as well be dead. But I'm only a cockeyed optimist, and I can't get it into my head. I hear the human race is falling on its face and hasn't very far to go. But every whippoorwill is selling me a bill and telling me it just ain't so. I could say life is just a bowl of jello and appear more intelligent and smart. But I'm stuck like a dope with a thing called hope, and I can't get it out of my heart. No, not this Ouch, you're stepping on my pouch. To the bear said the kangaroo. Oh, you're stepping on my toe. To the kangaroo said the gnu. Unc, you're stepping on my trunk. To the gnu said the elephant. The seal flipped his flippers and swallowed several chippers, and they all began to chant. Let us out, let us out, let us out, let us out. The zoo is overloaded. Let us out, let us out, let us out, let us out. The population has exploded. Eat, you're stepping on my beat, said the pelican to the moose. Look out, you're stepping on my snout, said the moose to the honking goose. Heck, you're stepping on my neck, said the goose to the tall giraffe. Ouch, my pouch, oh, my toe, eat, oh, ouch, oh, ooh. And that's what is new at the zoo. Oh, spread out, everybody. Why does Mrs. Skunk always have more room than we have? People can get a thrill, sitting, swelling, sitting still. That's cheap for some people who don't know they're alive. Some people can